Hello everyone. Today's our topic of discussion is D block elements. The elements which are present between S and P block elements in the modern periodic table are called transition elements. And in the transition elements, the last electron enters penultimate d orbitals, that is n minus 1 d orbital, and that's why they are called the d block एलिमेंट्स. क्यों? क्योंकि जो लास्ट इलेक्ट्रॉन है बेटा वो कहाँ पे एंटर हो रहा है? डी सब लेवल में, तो उसकी वजह से हम इसको क्या नाम देंगे? डी ब्लॉक एलिमेंट्स. As these elements are present between the S block elements and the P block elements, so their properties are also intermediate between the S and the P block elements, and they also represent a transition from the most electropositive elements to the least electropositive elements. So that's why these are known as the transition elements. And in the modern periodic table, from the group number 3 to the group 12, there are the transition elements. Further, these transition elements are metallic in nature, so today's the name transition metals is used often for these elements. And all the D block elements are classified into 4 series, that is the 3D, 4D, 5D and 6D series, which is corresponding to the filling of 3D, 4D, 5D and 6D orbitals. So the first transition series, or you can say the 3D series, corresponding to the filling of the 3D sublevel and which consists of the 10 members, that is the from scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper and last one is the zinc. And the second transition series or the 4D series corresponding to the filling of the 4D sublevel and again which also consists of the 10 elements of the fifth period, that is from the deuterium to the cadmium. And third transition series or the 5D series, which is again corresponding to the filling of the 5D sublevel of the sixth period and it consisting of again 10 elements, that is from the lanthanum, hafnium, tantalum, tungsten, rhenium, osmium, iridium, platinum, gold and last is the mercury. And the fourth transition series or the 6D series corresponding to the filling of the 6D sublevel, which starts with the actinium and followed by the elements with the atomic number 104 onwards. So next is the electronic configuration. The general valence shell configurations of the transition element is N-1, D1 to 10, Ns 0 to 2. 0, either 0, 1 or the 2. So this is the electronic configuration of the first series of the D block elements. That is in case of the scandium, that is the 3D1, 4s2, titanium 3D2, 4s2 and the similarly chromium 3D5, 4s1 and copper 3D10, 4s1. As we have already studied in the class plus 1, that is the chromium and the copper always shows the exceptional electronic configuration. So next is the electronic configuration of the D block elements in the second series, that is from the deuterium to the cadmium, and the second series involves the filling of the 4D sublevel. So in case of deuterium it is 5s2 4d1, zirconium is 5s2 4d2 and similarly goes on up to the cadmium, that is the 5s2 4d10. Next is the electronic configuration of the D block elements in the third series, that is the from lanthanum to the mercury, and third series which involves the filling of this 5d orbital. Next is the electronic configuration of the d block elements in the fourth series, which involves the filling of the 6d sublevel, that is from the actinium to the atomic number element having the atomic number 112. So next is the general characteristic of the transition element. As these elements lie in between those of the s and the p block elements, so their atomic radii are also in between of the s and the p block elements, and in a series they decrease with increase in the atomic number, but this decrease is small after midway. Second is, except for the mercury, that is a liquid, all the transition elements have typical metallic structure and they behave like a typical metals and also show typical metallic properties, that is high melting and boiling points, high enthalpies of vaporization, atomization and hydration of their ions. And these properties depend upon the strength of the metallic bond present in them. Next is, their first ionization energies are higher than those of the s block elements and less than those of the p block elements, as they are representing the transition from s block to the p block elements, and they are the electropositive in nature. Next is, that is, they show the variable oxidation states. They can show the number of the oxidation states, and the stability of any oxidation state depend upon its electrode potential. Next is, a number of the transition metals and their compounds show catalytic properties. That is, the most of the transition metals and their compounds behaving like a catalyst in a number of the processes. And next is, most of the transition metals form colored compounds, and their compounds are generally paramagnetic in nature. That is, they are generally having a unpaired electrons in them. Next is, that is, they have a great tendency to form the complexes. Besides this, they also form the interstitial compounds with the small elements like hydrogen, carbon, boron and nitrogen. And they also form a number of the alloys. So with this, the general characteristic of transition elements is complete. So now next is the exceptional behavior of the zinc, cadmium and mercury. As we have seen in the electronic configuration, that is zinc, cadmium and mercury have their orbitals completely filled both in their ground state and in their common oxidation state. So their electronic configuration can be represented as N-1, D10, Ns2. So they are not referred to as a transition elements. That's due to this they show the exceptional behavior as compared to the other members. So on the behalf of this, we can say that all the d block elements are not transition elements, but all transition elements are the d block elements. Considering the first series of the transition elements, that is from the scandium to the zinc, and in this case zinc differs from the other members in the following characteristic, that is, it has the higher atomic radius and the ionization energy. Due to their completely filled orbital, its compounds are generally white in color, while those of other members are the colored. And it does not show variable oxidation states, whereas the other members of the d block element, they can show a number of the oxidation states. And its compounds are the diamagnetic in nature, while those of the other members are the paramagnetic in nature. Why is this so? Because zinc is having the completely filled orbitals both in the ground state as well as in the its common oxidation state. Next is, it forms a lesser number of the complexes. So next is the general trends in the properties of the transition elements. So first is the atomic and the ionic radii. The atomic radii of transition elements lie in between those of S and the p block elements, and in a series the atomic radii decrease with increase in atomic number, but the decrease is small after the midway. So it is clear from the picture also, as we move from scandium to the zinc, there is a decrease in the atomic radii, but this decreases up to the middle. After this, the atomic radii remains practically constant, that is from the iron to the copper, but in the last from the copper to the zinc there is a little bit increase in the atomic radii. So it is also clear from this graph, that is from the scandium to the manganese there is a decrease in the atomic radii, but after it remains constant, and in case of zinc there is a little bit increase in the atomic radii. As in the beginning, the atomic radius decrease with increase in the atomic number. This is because of increase in the nuclear charge. And as in this case, the electrons are entering into the d sublevel, and the shielding effect of this d electron is very small. So there is a regular decrease in the atomic radius. But after midway, as the electrons enter the last but one penultimate shell, the added d electron screens the outermost electron. Hence, with increase in the d electrons, screening effect increases, which counterbalances the increased nuclear charge. कि जैसे जैसे midway के बाद क्या होगा, the number of the d electrons goes on increasing. जो डी इलेक्ट्रॉन्स है उनका नंबर क्या होता जाएगा, इंक्रीज होता जाएगा. नो डाउट उनका जो शील्डिंग इफेक्ट है, या यू कैन से स्क्रीनिंग इफेक्ट इज पुअर, बट ड्यू टू इंक्रीज इन द नंबर ऑफ द डी इलेक्ट्रॉन्स द स्क्रीनिंग इफेक्ट इंक्रीजेस, व्हिच counterbalances the increased nuclear charge. Due to this, the atomic radii remain practically same after the chromium. But at the end of the period, there is a slight increase in the atomic radii. This is because near the end of the series, the electronic repulsions between the electrons, between the added electrons in the same orbitals are greater than the attractive forces due to the increased nuclear charge, which ultimately results in the expansion of the electron cloud, and thus the atomic radius increases. क्यों? क्योंकि एट द एंड ऑफ द सीरीज क्या होगा, नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स क्या हो जाएंगे, बढ़ते जाएंगे, और एट द एंड ऑफ द सीरीज इन द केस ऑफ द जिंक इट इज द कंप्लीटली फिल्ड, दैट इज इन केस ऑफ द जिंक देयर आर 10 electrons in the d sub level. So in that case जो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक रिपल्शंस होंगी वो क्या होंगी, ज्यादा होंगी, rather than the attractive forces which are due to the increased nuclear charge. So due to this electronic repulsions जो इलेक्ट्रॉन क्लाउड होगा वो क्या कर जाएगा, एक्सपैंड हो जाएगा, और उस एक्सपेंशन की वजह से क्या होगा, जो एटॉमिक रेडियस है वो क्या हो जाएगा, इंक्रीज हो जाएगा, बिकॉज ऑफ द लेंथेनाइड contraction, and that will be discussed in the later on, that is in case of the f block elements. So next is the next trend in case of the ionic radii. The ionic radii followed the same trend as followed by the atomic radii, that when we are moving from left to right in a period it decreases, while when we are moving from top to bottom in a group it increases. The ionic radii of transition metals are different in different oxidation states. Generally, the ionic radii decrease with increase in the oxidation state. This is because of increase in the effective nuclear charge. As with increase in the oxidation state, the nuclear charge remains same, but the number of electrons will be less. तो क्या होगा, अगर न्यूक्लियर चार्ज सेम रह रहा है, नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स कम होते जा रहे हैं, तो क्या होगा, जो अट्रैक्टिव फोर्स होगी between the nucleus and the electrons, that will be the more. So there is an increase in the effective nuclear charge. So that's why the ionic radii decreases with increase in the oxidation state. So with this, our next property is the metallic character. Except for mercury, which is a liquid, all the transition elements show the typical metallic structures. This is because the number of the electrons present in the outermost shell is either 1 or the 2. That is in case of the S block elements. So that's why they are behaving like a typical metals. And due to this, the metallic bonds are formed in this case. And due to the presence of these strong metallic bonds in these cases, the transition metals are hard, malleable and ductile. That is, they show the typical metallic characteristics. That is, they are the harder in nature, malleable, ductile, and they are the good conductor of the heat and electricity and so on. As the unpaired electrons also form metallic bonding, so greater the number of unpaired d electrons, stronger is the metallic bonding in this case. So chromium, molybdenum and tungsten have maximum number of unpaired electrons and therefore they are the harder metals. Whereas zinc, cadmium and mercury, in this case they are having the fully filled d orbital. So in this case there are no unpaired electrons, so they are not very hard metals, that is they are the softer in nature. And along with the metallic bonding, few transition metals also show covalent bonding due to the presence of the unfilled d orbitals. Of the zinc, cadmium and mercury, so they are having the lower melting and the boiling points. And because of the unavailability of the unpaired electrons, these metals do not undergo covalent bonding, whereas rest of the transition elements have metallic as well as the covalent bonding. And due to this, they are the softer in nature. So with this, our property melting and boiling point is complete. And with this, our today's lecture is complete. So it is clear from this, that is, the melting and the boiling point generally increases up to the mid, then there is a sudden decrease in the melting and the boiling point. It's because of the strong metallic bonds present between the atoms of these elements, as the strength of the metallic bond depends upon the number of the unpaired electrons. So greater is the number of the unpaired electrons, stronger is the metallic bonding. And because of the stronger metallic bonding, these elements have high melting and the boiling points. And in a particular series, the metallic strength increases up to the middle with increasing number of the unpaired electrons. That is up to the D5 configuration. That is up to the chromium. And after chromium, the number of the unpaired electron goes on decreasing. That is in case of the iron, which is having the 4, cobalt is having 3 unpaired electrons and so on. So there is a decrease in the melting and the boiling point also. Here, one more point is over here, the dip in the melting point at manganese in the first transition series and at technetium in the second transition series and somewhat is rhenium in the third transition series. It is explained on the basis that is they have the exactly half-filled d orbitals. And due to this, the electronic configuration is stable in these cases. That is, the electrons are held tightly by the nucleus in these cases, so the delocalization is less and the metallic bond is much weaker than the preceding elements. So that's why here is a dip in the case of these elements. And as there are no unpaired electrons in the case